Hello again. Welcome back to my podcast. If you have not been here before, my name is Jenny. I am a crocheter based in North Yorkshire in the UK, and this is where I tell you all about the things I've been making recently and a few other bits and bobs about what I've been up to. This is part 2 of the current podcast. Part 2 was, well, I've just finished recording it, but hopefully there'll be a couple of days between the release dates for these 2 parts, if I remember to do that. We shall see. I will link part 1 below for you, and again, if I remember, it'll be linked on the end screen for this video as well. So part 1 was the non-existent finished objects for this time, my works in progress, and the what's on my radar sections, and then this part will cover some acquisitions, my to-do review, and a bit of chatter, possibly another section I've forgotten now. As always, I will be using chapters within the video, so you can skip sections, go back to sections, etc. very, very easily. And we are going to start with acquisitions. I have mentioned before that I am on a bit of a self-imposed spending ban at the moment. Funds are low, so I haven't got much, and most of what I've got I didn't pay for, which is nice. The first bits that I will show you I had a little spending spree on Temu a few weeks ago. I'm not showing you everything that I bought, but I've got some fabric that I wanted to show. So I don't normally buy fabric much anymore because I'm not a sewer. I won't use it. But 2 or 3 podcasts ago, maybe more, I can't remember the last time I showed you one. But I will have shown you, I have started making drawstring bags, crocheting them, and most of them, they're fine as they are. They work, they look nice, they're perfectly functional. But I had always intended when I first made them to add linings. You may remember I had a bit of a problem with my sewing machine, so I haven't got around to adding the linings yet. But I thought I would have a look and see if I could find any particularly nice fabric. I do have a little fabric stash, but most of what I've got either just isn't really to my taste anymore. I probably ought to go through and get rid of a bunch of it, or wouldn't make good linings for bags. So I had a little look on Temu, and I found some rather fabulous stuff. I did limit myself. I've only bought 3, and they're only small pieces, but I don't need much, so that's fine. So I have this one, which is cats and stars in some pretty funky colours. And I have this one, which has, more cats and stars, but a different pattern, in different colours. That one makes me think of Neris, our cat. She's a little black cat, so I really like that one. And then I have this one, which is a bigger piece actually. There's more of this good Halloweeny fabric. Bats and stars and moons. I do like that. Now these are all, in theory, Halloween fabrics. Whether or not I will get these sorted out, get the linings done in time for Halloween, is anyone's guess. No is probably more likely than yes. But we shall see. And but that doesn't really matter. This is the kind of thing I like anyway, and I know there are many other people who do too, so I'm not bothered. It'd be nice to have them ready for sale in advance of Halloween, so people can buy the bags for that if they want. but it doesn't really matter. So that's the fabric, which is lovely. And then on Monday, yes, I took my friend Phew out for lunch because it is her birthday next week. And I had completely forgotten how long it has been since we last properly saw each other. And because of that, I had completely forgotten that technically we missed my last birthday. My birthday is just after Christmas, so that tells you how long it's been. We have seen each other since then, but not for a proper sit down and chat and catch up kind of thing, which is what Monday was. So I had a lovely surprise. She brought me a present. It was a really cool bag, for one. I'm such a child. I love things like this, and she knows I do. And in the bag, there is one of these bags full of yarn. She knows me so well. It's her fault that I started crocheting in the first place. So she knows exactly how much I love yarny goodness. And she is happy to indulge. So I have 1, 2, 3 rather wonderful skeins of yarn. Skeins, either way. In colours that she knows I love. So, and let me tell you about them. So she has gone very sensibly for commercial, but high-end commercial, I would say anyway, sock yarn. It's not like the super expensive stuff, but it's not the lower end either. It's not budget friendly. So I have two skeins from Malabrigo. Is that how you say it? Possibly. It's a well-known brand anyway. I'm sure you may well have heard of it already. And we have colour 120, which is Lotus, which is a lovely variegated yarn in purples. So that's going to be really fun to work up when I decide what to do with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with any of these yet, other than have fun. I love the colours in that. It's going to be interesting to see what it's like when I cake it up, actually, before I use it, as well as how it actually works up when I do. And then, oh, that's not the Malabrigo, this is the other Malabrigo. What am I like? And this is number 800, which is Tiziano Red. Again, I might not be saying that right. And this is a plain one in a lovely deep red colour. Again, she knows me. This is exactly my kind of colour. So that, how well do they go together? Actually, that could work quite well, couldn't it? Maybe. Potential. There's potential there. And if not, I've got plenty of other yarn that would go with either one of them if I want to use them with something else. And then we have this, which is a Cascade Heritage yarn. Again, a brand that is pretty well known. You may well have heard of it yourself. This yarn colourway does not have a name, but the colour number is 5606. And again, it's a lovely, it's in the sort of purple end of red, if that makes sense. Oh, I hope that's focusing. Camera's just done something weird. But yeah, there we go. 3 lovely new skeins of yarn, which always makes me happy. Like I said, I've got no idea what I'm going to use it for. It is all sock yarn, so that's merino, wool and nylon blend. So I may make socks, I may make fingerless gloves, I may make something entirely different. Be quite good actually for a project that I'm going to talk about in a minute. don't think I will use it for that because I have a plan in mind already, but it could work if I wanted to. So let me put those away, and I shall, oh, I can't put them away, why isn't that working? There we go. Tuck them back into that bag, keep them safe, add them into my stash properly when I've finished with this. There we go. And that's the acquisitions. All very, very lovely stuff. And so I shall move on and tell you about the to-do review, but I'm just going to have a quick drink first. Finish my tea, which is disappointing, but I've got some squash, so it's all good. So, to-do review, this is where I just quickly go through how many projects I've got on the go and how many I've got lined up for the future. As the answer in brief is too many, always, but hey, I make it work somehow. So I can't remember what the last figures that I gave you were. I think last time I recorded I skipped this section because I just wasn't prepared, and so it's been probably a couple of months actually since I did this, but current numbers are active works in progress 5, which I will have talked about in part 1. Total works in progress, that's including all the ones that are currently hibernating, is 13. So more than half of my whips are in hibernation at the moment. I will get back to them. There's a couple that will possibly be frogged rather than continued, but that's fine. But most of them I will get back to, and I do want to finish them. I just have other things I'm focusing on at the moment. And then in terms of planned projects, these aren't all crochet. Most of them are. Actively planned projects, I've got 12. So that's almost as many again. Actually, that's not counting a couple of small things that I need to add to that list and or work on pretty soon. Actually, I want to get those done. So the project I'm going to talk about today is one that has been on my to-do list for a little while now. I just haven't, not the camera, sorry, haven't quite got round to it yet, but I will. I want to make it. It's just finding the time amongst everything else. So it is from this book, which it's been a while, but I have shown you before, so hopefully you recognise it. If not, if you are new or you missed that episode or whatever, this, as you can see, is the dark, what's it called? Dark and Dramatic Mosaic Crochet by Alexis Sixel, who is otherwise known as Sixel Design, both here on YouTube and on Instagram. This, I believe, is the first book that she has ever released. It's packed full of gorgeous patterns. And, you know, all of her patterns are gorgeous, to be fair. Not every one is to my taste, but I think, to be fair, all the ones in here are. And she's released some very, couple of very cool new ones since this came out, actually, as well. The pattern I am specifically talking about today is her Stella shawl. As you can see there, that's gone really shiny. There we go. So I don't often wear triangle shawls, but I do like to have the odd one knocking about. I have a plan for this. I think I've mentioned in previous episodes that I am gathering up black sock yarn. Fingering weight, probably. No, it needs to be DK weight. I've just thought, but that's okay because I can always double up if I need to. And that is because I want to use black either as the background colour or as the colour for the stars. And it's probably the background because I think I'd be more likely to wear it then, but I haven't quite decided yet. For the stars, for the contrast, I have decided this would be a really good project for using the Advent minis that I got from Vicky Brown last year. So that's the 2023 Advent by Vicky Brown. I just think it'd look really good, basically. The colours, there's a lot of different colours, some of which I really love, some of which I'm less keen on. I don't believe they are designed to go together, but I think it would create, but some of them, some of them do, most of them do, and because there are so many different ones, it doesn't really matter, to me anyway, that they don't go together. I think it would look really cool. Basically, there'd be a like stripy effect going on. Most of them are variegated as well, so it's going to look a little bit chaotic. But I like that. I think that it's going to look really fun. It is just a case of finding the time to do it. I need to clear a few other whips first, so I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but this is absolutely on my to-do list. It will get done at some point, and when I do, I will show you first of all the black yarn that I end up choosing, because I haven't settled on one yet. And I'll show you all those minis again as well and talk about them in a bit more detail. What else have we got in here? I won't go through this too much, but just to show you a couple of other examples. Where are we? Oh, Sanctuary wall hanging. She's done one of these for herself. She's got it hanging up in her house, I believe. And there's the... So I'll just do one more. I'm not going to go through this loads because I've shown you them all before, I think. One of the simple ones, the Tea House mug rug. That's just a little simple one to get started. This book's split up into, I think there's 3 sections of sort of beginner, intermediate, expert-ish. In my opinion, anyone can do mosaic crochet. It's much, much simpler than it looks. That said, you do need to know some special stitches for more complex things. So absolutely start with some simpler ones. Alexis has got plenty like that. Alright, I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm just going to regather myself, have another drink, and I'll come back in a sec. Okay, I believe that is all of the official business, so to speak, and I can just have a little chat with you now. Yeah, it's been a funny few weeks. I mentioned in part 1 that I have been struggling with motivation to crochet, which is very unlike me. I think that was triggered by some things that happened right at the beginning of the summer holidays. So back in July, I talked in detail about what was going on in the last podcast, I believe that I did. So if you want to know about that, by all means go back and watch it. And yeah, it just kind of threw me for a loop a bit. It threw everything off course, derailed the tentative plans I had made for the summer holidays. I always struggle over the summer anyway, partly because of the weather, extra light, extra heat, both of which I do not enjoy, and then just the fact that the routine, well, there isn't a routine really. I thrive on routine during term time when Ned's at school. Get up, get him ready for school, Kelvin takes him and does the school run most days, and I can crack on with my day. I'll do a little bit of housework, I'll do some work, I know what I'm doing. It's not necessarily the same every day, but I know that I've got from 8:30 until 4:15 where it's my time. I can use it in whatever way I need to use it. And obviously that doesn't happen in the summer holidays and any all the other school holidays too, but because the summer's so much longer, it feels like a bigger deal. So I've done very little work. The business is suffering. Really far behind on getting projects completed and moving on to new ones. The good news is that the motivation is coming back now. I'm feeling more settled. The routine is back in place. Life is going pretty well at the moment. Could it be better? Of course it could. It always could. But it's going pretty well. And the weather's changed. It's got cold. Obviously, I know a lot of people are not enjoying that. The heating came on this morning. But yeah, I'm happy. It's still, it still has some pretty nice weather. Objectively nice weather. But it's so much cooler, which means I'm just more comfortable. I don't like being cold, but I overheat really easily, so colder weather suits me much, much better. What else was I going to tell you about? This week generally has been incredibly sociable, and it's not over yet. So I mentioned in the acquisitions section, I saw my friend Phew on Monday, took her out for lunch, because it's her birthday next week. I then saw another friend, Becky, yesterday, took her out for lunch because it was her birthday. It's her birthday today. It's also 2 of my sister's birthday was yesterday. The twins, obviously. I haven't seen them. They're away at the moment. So I will see them when they come back. Today, I'm out this afternoon. I'll touch on that in a minute. Tomorrow I've got to run some errands in town, and then Friday I'm seeing my friend Lindsay. So it's just, this is, it's an odd week for me. I'm not normally out and about this much. I don't normally see this many people. It's just all happened at once this week. So far it's been really nice. I've had a really good time catching up with my friends. But yeah, it just feels a bit odd. And I've got so much else to do and I keep not doing it because I'm out seeing other people. But never mind. On the subject of this afternoon, I have started going to counselling. The organisation that I'm using, that it's run by, is called Wellspring. I will link them in the description. Today will be my 3rd session, so it's still pretty early, but it's going well. I think the first session I wasn't sure afterwards whether I really clicked with the counsellor. Just nothing wrong with him. He's a perfectly lovely man, seems to know what he's talking about. I just didn't have that connection feel. There is somebody doing some very noisy work somewhere outside. I'm sorry if you can hear that. But last week, it's once a week that I go. Last week I felt much more comfortable. We got pretty deep about a couple of things. So yeah, so far so good. Hopefully today will be good as well. It's hard work, obviously. Digging deep into what you're thinking and feeling and trying to process that kind of thing is always hard work, but it's worth doing. A lot has happened in the last few years that I just need to wrap my head around properly and really really process, basically, really think through and figure out how I do feel and come to terms with it, I guess. So we're working through. Yeah, I highly recommend Wellspring if you are at all local. If they're good for you. I think they can do remote sessions, so that might be worth looking into if you're not in the area. But yeah, like I said, I will link them below so you can have a look. And if you can't access Wellspring, then have a look in your area for something similar, because it's really worthwhile. Someone at the door again. So as I mentioned, Ned's gone back to school now. This is his second week. He's in year 4. Ned's my son, if you don't already know. He is 8 years old. He didn't want to go back to school. Does anyone ever after the summer? But he's settled in really well. He's got a really good teacher this year. She's not someone I know very well at all, but everyone that I've spoken to has said she's lovely, and the impression so far is that that's absolutely right. Ned seems to really like her, and not more importantly, it's most important that he likes her and gets on with her, and that she is good at teaching. Something that has helped me feel good about it is she actually communicates. a rare skill, it seems, these days, and something we struggled a little bit with last year and the year before. But we're only on the second week, and I've had to send a couple of emails already. Nothing major, just a couple of little, can we sort this out? No one's in trouble. But just a couple of little admin-y things, and in both cases she has replied within hours, which, considering she's busy, she's teaching, that's really good that she's keeping on top of that side as well, assuming that it's not impacting the work of the class. So that's great. What else was I going to say? Oh, medical update. Everything's fine. I'm good. Yay! I finally had the all clear for the collapsed lung that I had earlier in the year. I knew last time I spoke to you that it was going to be fine, but because of everything else that was going on, they couldn't officially sign me off. But I have been discharged. I'm fine. Hallelujah. That's my stomach. I do apologise. Apparently I'm very hungry. But then it is heading towards lunchtime, so that's understandable. On the sinuses front, obviously, quick backstory for anyone who hasn't seen previous episodes. The collapsed lung was the result of some surgery I had back in June. The surgery was actually to sort my sinuses out. It's a whole thing. It initially felt like it had done the job, or at least significantly improved things. You can probably hear it in my throat. I'm croaky. The symptoms are all coming back. The postnasal drip. 2 very different things. The postnasal drip has come back in full force. This ear feels uncomfortable and full. This side of my face feels uncomfortable again pretty much all the time. I've got my checkup, I think it's next week, it might be the week after, so I will of course be raising all of this with the doctor. Okay, what gives? What do we do now? And I will keep you posted on that. It's an annoyance, and I really need it to go away, because it is a constant thing, and it's not, I'm not in loads of pain, it's not seriously impeding activities, it's not stopping me doing anything, but it's just here all the time, and so it'd be nice if I could get that properly sorted out. One last thing, I had my hair cut last week. Obviously I've got it up today, so you can't really tell. I had some of the length taken off, and most excitingly, let me twizzle. I don't know how well you can see that, I don't know how well you can hear me now, but I've had an undercut done. I don't really like it. The reason for doing it was quite simply because when I do wear my hair down, the back of my neck gets really hot, and it all just feels like it's a bit confining almost around the back of my neck, because I've got very thick hair and I do like to keep it relatively long. And so the last time I had my hair done, I spoke to my hairdresser about it, and she suggested an undercut. We didn't do it then because I wasn't sure. I've been thinking, and I have gone for it, and I'm really happy that I have. I love it. So obviously that's going to be something I need to keep on top of a little bit more than I normally would with my hair. I go months quite often without having it done. Shut up, stomach. But yeah, that's okay. Go and get it. Just get that bit done every so often. Yeah, definitely a good choice. So if that's a problem you have, if you have really thick hair and the back of your neck gets hot, or you just don't like the feel of it sitting on it, I can highly recommend an undercut. It has made a huge difference. I have already been wearing my hair down much more than I normally do, which is nice because I think I look better with my hair down. And I know Kelvin, my husband, likes it when I wear my hair down, so that's nice. But yeah, that's that. That is the end of the chat, which means it is the end of the podcast, and I will just quickly wrap things up for you. The next episode, in theory, I will try and stick to the schedule, should be better now that the routine's back in place. I will be recording next on the 25th of September. Can you hear my stomach? You probably can, I'm sorry. And that will be released on the 27th of September for the first part, a couple of days later for the second, assuming I do 2 parts again. I am planning 2. And the other thing of note is my next craft market, which is the 5th of October. That is one that I am hosting. It is in Harrogate at the Wesley Chapel. This was the last one that I arranged. Shut up. It's getting really close now. There's 3 weeks to go? Maybe 4 at a push. 3.5 probably. I do still have a few spaces left for vendors, so if you have a local-ish business and can get to Harrogate on the 5th of October, then please do get in touch. I will pop a link in the description for the vendor application form. It's a Google form, so everyone should be able to access it. You just pop your details in there and I'll get back to you. So far the organisation is going pretty well, I think. Again, I haven't done as much as I had intended to because of the summer holidays, so I need to factor that in next time I plan one. But it's going well, and I've got a good selection of vendors already. I just need a few more, please. And again, if you're not a vendor but you are in the area again on the 5th, please do pop along and say hello and have a look at what we've got to offer. Obviously I will have a stall there as well as organising. We've got people selling candles and jewellery and like wooden signs, things like this. I think he does candle holders and stuff as well. We've got all sorts of things already. And I've got a lovely lady called Julie, who is a caterer, who is going to do a pop-up cafe for me as well this time. So you'll be able to get a little spot of lunch or a snack or something. She's doing hot drinks, sandwiches, possibly soup, I think she mentioned, and like cakes and things. So hoping that will draw some extra people through the door, especially if the weather isn't great. And I must put together a playlist. I have a music license now, so I can play music, which again I think will just help the atmosphere. I have got some ideas for tracks already, but if you have any ideas for Halloweenish themed songs, my stomach is getting louder and more frequent, any recommendations would be great. Pop them in the comments for me and I shall have a listen, and if I like it I shall add it. And that's that, I think. So thank you once again for joining me. I won't bang on about it too much, but if you do feel like subscribing to the channel, if you haven't already, that would be greatly appreciated. Drop a little thumbs up on the video, pop a comment in if there's anything you'd like to share, follow me on Instagram, tell your friends and enemies and everybody else. that's it. I shall be back in about 2 weeks. Alright, thank you again, and goodbye for now.